Okay, guys, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me, George? George, can you hear me? What's better? You could hear me or what? I don't understand. If you can't hear me, turn your volume up on your speakers. All right. Ed, I just got your email, and I will send you the PDF on what you requested. All right, today I didn't write out any PDFs because there's no need to. The only thing that you're going to have in front of you, okay, is the stick control book. What's wrong with the voice? The voice is on full volume. Is that better now or no? Is the voice coming through now? Or is this one better? Which one is it? Please, guys, help me out a little bit. Ed, can you hear me loud and clear, or my volume is soft? Hello? Okay. Is that okay or too loud? All right, anyway, what you're going to need is the stick control book. All right, the first line of stick control book. First of all, before I continue, we're going to use straight 16th notes, alternating strokes, like 1 E and a, 2 E and a, E and a, 4 E and a. Now that's going to be continuous throughout this next exercise, or reference. So, what I'm going to do is I look at the first line of stick control book, okay, and the sticking pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So, I'm going to eliminate all the L's. That gives me 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So, I'm playing this underneath. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, constantly. 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, E and a, 4 E and a. Now, I look at the page, the line 1, the right, left pattern, and I had eliminated all the lefts. And now, I'm going to reference off just the rights as an accent. So on line 1, all the rights fall on 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I'm going to play 16th notes constant, and this time I'm going to accent just the 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and slow. 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay, we understand that. I'll play it up a little bit. Hold on. We understand that. Now we go to line 2. This time now, the R's are all falling on the ands. So now the accent's going to shift. Instead of being on 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be on the ands now. So underlining is this: 1 E and a, 2 E Now with the accent, 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. Now before I go any further, gentlemen and ladies, I need to know if you understand so far my interpretation. I'll do line 2 again, nice and slow. My bass drum is 1, 2, 3, 4. My hi-hat is heel and toe, 2 and 4. My accent, 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. Now what I like to do is play line 1 and go directly into line 2 because I'm going on the downbeat and then I'm going on the upbeat, back and forth. Nice and slow again. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E again. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4. Line 2. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2 and 3E and 4. Back. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and so on and so forth. Now, I'm containing this particular exercise right now to one voice. But as you heard a couple minutes ago, I moved the accent to the floor tom-tom. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to play line 1 twice, then I'm going to go right to line 2 twice and back to 1 over and over again, moving the accent instead of the snare drum onto the floor tom-tom. Okay, a little faster. Simple exercise, and it's a lot of fun. All right, now that takes us to line 3. This time now we have, on the 1E and that I'm playing, you have an accent on the 1 and the and. There are no accents on the 2. That moves us over to the 3. That gives me an accent on the 3 and the and of 3. Nice and slow, and I'm going to contain it just on one voice. That's all right. Okay, a little faster. Now all the rights on the floor. Now run through line 1, line 2, and line 3. Hey Ross, how you doing? You just getting here, or did you catch the lesson on what we're doing? I know you're on lunch. All right, let me do line 1 twice, line 2 twice, and line 3 twice, and then I'll stop. Here you go. We all get that? Now line 3, the rights fall on the 2 and 4 and. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to play it with the accent and I'm shifted over to 2 and 4 and on one surface. Nice and slow. 1 E and 2 E and. Okay, down the accent on the floor tom-tom. I'm sorry, Jesus, I'm on line 3. Whoa. One, let me do it here, nice and slow. 1 E and 2 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and a little faster on 2 and 4 end. And that takes us to line number 5. I need to know if everybody understands it to this point. If not, you know, I could go back a little bit and review my steps. So let's get some response going on in the chat, please. Now, my next statement's not going to refer to members of my website or my online lesson site. However, it would really be nice. It's not, you know, mandatory. It's not, you know, you don't have to do this, but you know, donations are accepted if you'd like to, once in a while, throw a few dollars into my PayPal account. My PayPal account is my email. Just go to my email, and if you want to put 25 cents, you want to put $1, whatever you might want to do, you can do it. That would be greatly appreciated. And I hope I'm not out of line by asking of that. Is that okay with you, gentlemen? Now I want to get to line 5 if there are no questions. All right, line 5. Now the accent's going to move. The accent's going to be on number 1. It's going to be on 2 and the and of 3. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's what I'm referencing the accent off of. That line 5 of page 5 of stick control. Nice and slow. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E. I'm sorry. 1 E and a 1 E and 2 E and 4 E and nice and slow again. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and But notice my levels was there. Gentlemen, how come there's no response in my chat here? I need to know whether you understand this or not before I continue to the next stage of the lesson. So if you understand it, just put a Y in there. If you don't understand it, put an N there. Por favor, please. Waiting some response. All right, I'm going to play a few of these lines, but I'm not going to contain myself to just the floor tom-tom. I'm going to come up to the small tom. I'm going to get the floor tom-toms in. Line 1, Ron. What's that? Could do which one again, George? Not line 5. Which line we talking about here? I need to drop the sticks here and just get to the questions. All right, let me just assume that it's line 5. The accent falls on the count of 1. So let me just do that much. 1, E, and the. Now, the R's fall on 2 and on line 5, so I have 2 accents on the count on 2. 2, E, and the. Then on 3, it goes on the and, so it's 3, E, and the. Then 4, there's no accent, in position to get to the next accent. Okay, that's 5. I'm doing it right now, George. So let me slow it down. The accent, first off, you have to know where to place the accent. The accent is on the count of 1, on the count of 2 and, and the count of 3, and. So without me playing the 16ths, here's the accents. 1, I'll count the 16ths. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. All right, now, I'll do it with the 16ths on the bottom. 1, E, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4. Again, and the 1, and the 2, E, and the 3, E, and the 4, E, and the. I hope that helps, George. Okay, so now, let me just fool around with a couple of these lines and move in the accents. You can do this with any page, well, most pages rather, of the syncopation book. I don't have the syncopation book here, but for example, if you had an eighth note rest and an eighth note, when you're reading it on the stick control, the syncopation book, that would be 1 and then you'd have, say, 3/4 notes consistent. 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So now I'm going to take that figure and just play it. 1 E and 2 E. Hello. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So now let me play that here, nice and slow. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Up a little bit. Got it? So open up the syncopation book as well. Take a few lines and fool around. Eventually you can start playing melodic structures on the toms with that pattern. And we'll get into that in an additional lesson. Anyway, I hope I wasn't out of line for asking for donations, because they are accepted. How do you feel about that, gentlemen? A little bit of a donation. $0.50, $1, $2, whatever you feel like you should pay or would like to donate. You got it, George? Okay. We understand that, correct? All right, the next part of the lesson. Now, up and coming lesson I'd like to talk about for a few seconds here. We're going to do some linear concepts with 4 limbs or 4-way coordination with the stick control book. Okay, so you have my email, George, if you'd like to make a donation, no problem. All right, that doesn't apply to you, Ross. You're a member. Ross pays monthly. All right, anyway, the next part of the lesson, we're going to be doing straight eighth notes with the left hand. I refer to this as a vamp. And I'm going to play my bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4, and my left foot, heel and toe, 2 and 4. So I consider that a vamping pattern, but it's also an ostinato because the pattern is over and over and over again. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So while that's going on, I'm again referencing off the stick control book, eliminating all the lefts and playing just the rights on the floor tom-tom against that pattern. So the first line, the rights are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. On line 2, it falls on the ands, the rights. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and against the pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Line 3, 1 and 3 and. Line 4 on 2 and 4 and. Line 5, it's on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going to play. Now, like I said, I'm containing this, all the rights to the floor tom-tom, but, you know, be creative, move it around. You know, I play with 2 floors and a small tom. Most drummers these days are playing with 2 smalls and 1 floor. So it's entirely up to you. This is why I did not write out PDFs, because of the different drum drum set combinations. So I'm going to put a little bit of color on this. I'm going to maneuver it around, and I'm not playing any line in particular. Okay? Now, well, let me give you an example of what I can create, say, for line 1. It's simple. You're being showed like this: 1 and 2. Now you can move it around the toms: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You can have a whole lot of fun, a lot of different things, a lot of different ideas, a lot of being creative. And that's one of the jobs, I don't consider it a job, I consider it a love, of a teacher, is to squeeze out your creativity. Now let me just play, and I'm going to move them around. All right? And I'm not going to play any line in particular. Idea, gentlemen. A fun thing to do. So, anyway, if there's any questions on what we have done today, please step forward and ask, and I have no problem revisiting what I did today. Do we all understand all of this so far? Yes, no, maybe, by chance, help, baning. Okay, let me just give you an example of an approach that, and I only have a few more minutes, of what's coming with that 4-way coordination, linear concepts, basic. Now, what we've been doing with the stick control book, we've been interpreting it a few different ways as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. With this next particular concept, a linear concept or ideas or whatever you may want to call them, I'm going to consolidate the 2 measures into 1. I'm going to think of the measure as 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. So here's the first part. Every downbeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, is going to be the bottom. Now when I say the bottom, if it says right on 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. If it says left on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to stay with 2 lines, and we're going to play like the grid with the bottom against the top. All the remainder of the notes are just going to be what the sticking is. Example, line 1. It would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If I go to line 2, now the left is the downbeat, so it's the left means left foot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. I'm sorry, what should be 1 and a. All right, hold on. Jesus. These pop-ups drive me crazy. Do we understand where I'm coming from with that exercise? Line 2. 1 E and the, 2 E and the, 3 E and the, 4 E and the. Now it's contained right now just to the snare drum. Now, when I say the grid, what we did, we took the line and we played the bottom as the 1, 2, 3, 4, whether it was right or left. Now, I'm using my hi-hat because I really don't care for double beaters, but I can set them up. If you have double pit pedals and you want to use double bass drums, that's cool as well. I like that additional sound as opposed to 2 bass drums. All right? So, let's go to the E. And this is part of the grid because we just played all the downbeats. So now I look at the first line. It's a right. That's 1. But now the E now is a left. And that means the bottom, the hi-hat. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and I go to line 2. It would be 1 E and I'm sorry, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and now I'm just presenting this to you because we are going to be doing this week, and that reminds me, I forgot all about it. Wednesday is the 4th of July, so there's going to be no lesson Wednesday. I will shift Wednesday's lesson to Thursday. So Thursday we're going to do a 1 p.m. and an 8:30 p.m. And the lessons are going to be on YouTube. Now, with all that being said, I need to close down, okay, before I get a bill from YouTube. Anyway, remember, if you want to donate, you have my email, and I hope I'm not out of line by asking, but it would be greatly appreciated. So I will be back this evening at 8:30 p.m. right here on YouTube. And Ed, I will send you the PDF that you requested. Any questions before I close up? If not, have a good rest of the day, and you're all welcome to come back this evening. No problem, Ed. I might be coming up your way this month sometime, probably on a Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday to go to Zildjian again if you're available. We could hook up. It's not certain yet, but more than likely, yes. Okay, gentlemen, have a good day. See everybody tonight at 8:30 p.m.